flower regulated has to be reported and controlled. But every single bit of weed that you buy in the store, or cartridges, or whatever you want to call it, is tested. So you got no molds or no pesticides, you have no bad stuff in it. And so there has to be a certain amount of regulation, but it can't be over regulated. It's kind of where I'm getting at, because I'm like from the weed capital. But
Exactly, and then I guess when I say like regulated, like I don't want, I think that comes down to a business standpoint of what you produce for your consumers. Like I don't want you, give me rotten tomatoes or
oh yeah,
rotten meat or anything like that. And if someone is a bad company and they keep giving you a bad product, you review it and you stop buying their stuff. You know,
exactly.
and I here's my other thing is we keep on the government doesn't solve problems. Like we as a community have to solve our issues. So if it's okay, so listen to this. Say you have a weed man, right? You want to order some weed from a certain guy. He starts giving you like crap. You don't like it. You go to a different weed man. You don't keep going to that person. Does that make sense when it comes to like regulating what kind of like product you have, if it's good or not?
Yeah, it's like I haven't bought weed from somebody that's not the dispensary for like years, so I
Can I
know
jump in?
everything is tested.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Let me jump in really quickly. When it comes to not regulation, but standardization, Donnie, this one's directed at you. What is your take on standardization? I'll give you an example. So when you go to the meat section of a supermarket, you can choose from USDA Select, USDA Choice, USDA Prime, three different grades of meat. It isn't necessarily a government regulation by the USDA that says you must have prime meat or you do not sell meat whatsoever. It is here are characteristics that can put different meats in different grades, and you, the consumer, can choose what you want. What if
Well,
the
yeah,
same was applied to marijuana? And what is your take on that, Donnie?
I have a question for you. So, who's
Mm-hmm.
determining these classifications? And are they getting kickbacks or money to make those kind of grades?
So I can talk about meat personally. That was originally done by farmers and ranchers to regulate who got the best rating for the top type of breed of cows they had.
Sweet, thank you, Jordan. Jordan, I cannot wait to hear you speak. Well, you're next. But Mr. Webster, so my question then is, who's actually making those? One second, I need to mute the mic. 1 second. Who's actually regulating? And who's deciding? Not regulating, but who's deciding those kind of grades? And are they getting kickbacks? Because I feel like anytime anything like that, even if it's not the government involved, that someone's getting some kind of kickbacks, so they can give so much money, or there's some kind of special interest involved to decide if they give you that or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, the less that we can give the government, the better. The less responsibility that we can give the government, the better. So, one of the things that can be done is putting it in the hands of a non-government organization, a non-profit organization that is a consortium of different growers. So, for example, in my industry, the film industry, uh, if we didn't have standardization, everyone would have a different format. So for photographers, we have the Joint Photographers Experts Group, or JPEG. For movies, you have the Movie Pictures Engineers Group, or MPEG. These are the organizations that make the standards for the video files and the photo files and the containers that these files are in. The same thing can be done with marijuana when it comes to growers and developers and people who sell it, to get together and create their own organization that determines what these standards are. So
Oh, I like that.
keep the government out of it
Yeah,
altogether.
I like it. That's what, see, look, he's producing solutions and ideas of things we can do without the government, because we're way smarter than them. We're way better than them. We can decide things better than the government can. Jordan, please go ahead.
So I wanted to mention something. There was a very recent date to look up. That's December the 5th. That's National Repeal Day. you have to look at what happened with alcohol as far as being put into prohibition along with other narcotics. And the reasons why. There's very small groups that gain power. One of the groups you want to look up is called the Temperance Movement. Happened in 1916 or something like that, right around there. That was when they gained power. It was about 20 women or so that said, no man that drinks liquor shall touch our lips. That was one of the biggest mottos and slogans that they had. It changed the way alcohol and narcotics were seen in a field because of what husbands were doing at night versus coming home. So this was a marriage issue in the very beginning. A lot to do with heroin as far as opium dens and all that other stuff that was going on at the same time.
Tongues.
A lot of people forget
It's not
when
English.
pre like 1919, your Coca-Cola had cocaine in it and had other things. Like doctors prescribed you cocaine and heroin to fix your solutions and overcome things. So I mean, a lot of it has to do too with the changing of the medical field. Now I think government tends to overstep its boundaries as far as overregulation and gaining too much control. The problem is you end up having a congressman or a senator that ends up getting their hands caught in the cookie jar one too many times and has to write an atrocious bill that harms everybody else, or they target certain minorities or groups or whatever it was back in the day, whatever history says. But I mean, history is always repeating itself, and one thing we have to watch out for now is how quickly states are deregulating marijuana. Like Denver, for instance, the scenario that you had in Denver was not due to mold or anything else. It's actually due to grow houses overproducing, not being able to sell their product, and then selling it out the back door is why they're getting a lot of fines and regulations out there. I suggest one of the groups you look up is called Sweet Leaf. It was a...
Hey, Jordan, I don't know if you know me or been in my spaces very often, but if you want to share some information in the nest, can you make it a tweet and then add it to the top of here? How you do that is make the tweet, you hit share, and then you just add it to the space.
Yeah. So I knew the president of Sweet Leaf. They got arrested for basically moving out tons of marijuana out the places and marking it as sold, and they're selling it to teenagers and stuff like that, and minors is what they got in trouble for. And I mean, there has to be proper regulation. I don't know if you've seen the way that like Nevada kind of did it, which I kind of agree with the way that they did, kind of distributor-wise, as far as the way marijuana is distributed. They created a separate entity, so a third party that takes the weed from the warehouse to the retail shops. I don't know.
So Jordan, you're saying that you think there should be regulations.
I think there should be proper regulations. I don't think it should be stepped over bounds. I think there has to be checks and balances on everything because, I mean, just like you say, you want to make sure you're getting good products. Like, you don't want to go smoke something that has fentanyl in it and then be like, oh, like, I died today because I didn't get a proper check on something that was laced with something. You want to make sure things are being done right in the first place.
Jordan,
So,
1 second. Hey, Constitution 123. I'm going to remove you if you do not mute your mic. I keep muting your mic and it keeps coming back on. Go ahead, Jordan. Sorry about that.
I just think there has to be checks and balances within proper guidelines. I think it should be a state issued thing, and then federal kind of has to kind of walk away from this a little bit. Take a complete step back and kind of relook at the way they do things. Again, states